Lila Monroe had always believed that life rewarded those who knew what they wanted. Growing up, she watched her mother struggle, working long hours and still falling behind on bills. Lila promised herself that her future would be different. She wouldn't marry for love alone. Love faded, money stayed. That belief followed her into adulthood, shaping every choice she made. Adrian Blackwood, a well-known tech billionaire in the whole of the United States, was not born into wealth or privilege. Everything he had, he built slowly and deliberately. In his early 30s, he founded a small tech company that solved problems most people ignored. Years of discipline, long nights, and quiet risk turned that company into a respected name. Adrian became known not for loud success, but for steady intelligence and restraint. He valued privacy. He dressed simply. He trusted very few people. Power had taught him a hard truth early in life. Money doesn't change people, it reveals them. Because of that, Adrian learned to observe more than he spoke. He listened carefully. He watched behavior, not words. And when it came to relationships, he was cautious. But seeing Lila Monroe caught him off guard. Adrian had not gone to the charity gala looking for love. He went out of obligation, the kind that came with success and influence. He expected polite conversations, rehearsed smiles, and people who wanted something from him and also to meet new business associates. Then he saw Lila. She stood near the center of the room, laughing softly, her presence light but magnetic. She had a natural beauty that didn't feel forced, warm eyes, a gentle smile, and a petite, curvy figure that carried confidence without arrogance. She moved with ease, like someone comfortable being seen. Adrian noticed how people turned toward her without realizing why. That was what drew him in first. Not strategy, not money, just interest. When they spoke, Lila was charming. She listened, laughed at the right moments, and spoke with a softness that made Adrian feel unusually relaxed. She told him she loved art, travel, and meaningful conversations. She seemed grounded, genuine. Adrian, who spent most of his life guarded, found himself opening up. They began seeing each other soon after. At first, everything felt effortless. Lila was affectionate in public, holding his arm at events, smiling proudly beside him. Adrian enjoyed her energy, her beauty, and the way she made quiet rooms feel alive. For the first time in a long while, he thought he had found someone who liked him for more than his reputation. After some months, he proposed to Lila, thinking he had found a true love and someone who loved him. Lila accepted instantly, without hesitation, tears streaming down her face. Adrian feels happy, but calm and observant. After some weeks, Lila began to show her true color. At events, Adrian noticed men who lingered too long around Lila. Some were overly familiar. A hand on her back. A look that lasted a second too long. When he asked, she laughed it off easily. "He's a business partner," she said once. "That's my brother's friend," she said another time. "An associate, nothing serious." Her phone rang often. She stepped away to answer. When Adrian asked who it was, the answers came smoothly. Partners, colleagues, distant relatives. She never stumbled over a lie. What Lila didn't know was that Adrian paid attention to patterns. He noticed that the same associates appeared at multiple events, that the calls came late at night, that her affection sometimes felt timed, especially when money or marriage was discussed. The truth revealed itself slowly, then all at once. One evening, Adrian arrived early at a private event. From across the room, he saw Lila laughing closely with a man she had introduced as a family friend. The intimacy was unmistakable. Another night, he spotted her leaving a venue with someone else, her hand resting comfortably on his arm. It wasn't suspicious anymore. It was a certainty. Adrian didn't confront her. He investigated quietly. Messages confirmed what his instincts already knew. The men were not brothers or partners. They were boyfriends. And behind his back, Lila spoke freely. She joked about Adrian being safe. She spoke about marriage like a deal closing. She talked about money as if it were already hers. Still, Adrian stayed silent. Not because he was weak, but he already had a plan. On the wedding day, everything was flawless. The venue shimmered with elegance. Guests whispered about power, beauty, and fortune. Lila walked down the aisle glowing, convinced this was her final step into a life of luxury. Lila finished her vows with tears in her eyes. She spoke about love, loyalty, and forever. Her voice trembled in a way that made the guests emotional. She promised to stand by Adrian through everything, to honor him, to choose him every day. Applause followed. Smiles spread across the room. To everyone watching, it was perfect. Then it was Adrian's turn. He didn't reach for his vows. Instead, he looked at Lila for a long moment, calm and unreadable. The room grew quiet. "Before I say anything," he said, "I need to ask you a question." Lila smiled nervously. "Okay." "You told me the men I saw you with were your associates," Adrian said. "Is that still your truth?" The guests exchanged confused glances. This wasn't part of the ceremony. Lila laughed lightly. "Yes," she replied. "I've always told you the truth." Adrian nodded slowly. "Good," he said. "Then let's talk about how I met them." A ripple of tension moved through the hall. "I introduced myself to them," Adrian continued, his voice steady. "I told them I was your husband." Lila's smile vanished. "They didn't recognize my name," he said. "They didn't know you were engaged. They didn't know you were marrying anyone." Murmurs spread across the crowd. Adrian turned slightly toward the guests. Every one of them told me the same thing, that they were dating Lila. She told them she was single, that she had no husband, no fiancé. Lila shook her head desperately. "They're lying." "These are all lies, Adrian." Adrian looked at her. "You said that before too." He raised his hand slightly. "Gentlemen, can you step in, please?" The doors at the back of the hall opened. One by one, the men walked forward. Gasps filled the room. Adrian asked them simple questions. "Did you know Lila was engaged?" "No." "Did she tell you she had a husband?" "No." Lila stood frozen. Adrian spoke again. "They also told me something else," he said, "that they paid you for having fun with you. Give you a lot of cash, because you told them you weren't committed to anyone." Lila's knees buckled. Her voice cracked as she begged, crying openly now. "Please, Adrian, please, let me explain." Adrian stepped back. "I asked you privately," he said. "You lied. I asked you again, here, in front of everyone. You lied again." The hall was silent. "My plans were to help you build your own name, not as my wife only, not as an extension of me, but as a woman I respect and love truly. I wanted to introduce you to people who could mentor you, fund you, challenge you. I wanted you to become a well-known businesswoman on your own terms. I also know something you never told me," he said gently. "I know your mother is struggling. I know she works harder than she lets on. I know about the debts she hides behind smiles." Lila's face drained of color. "I knew," Adrian continued, "because I paid attention. I asked questions. I made findings, not to expose you, but to protect you." Tears welled in Lila's eyes. Guests exchanged stunned looks. "I was ready to help," Adrian said, quietly, respectfully. "Without making your family feel small." He paused. "All of that was meant to be my gift to the woman I believed loved me." The room was silent. "But love," Adrian said, his voice firm now, "cannot grow where truth does not exist." He looked at her fully. "You loved what I had," he said, "not who I am." Lila shook her head, crying profusely. "That's not true," she whispered. "I love you." Adrian nodded once. "If that were true," he said, "you wouldn't have lied when there was nothing to gain. You wouldn't have needed other men. You wouldn't have treated marriage like a contract. You forfeited them, he said, not because I changed my mind, but because your character was missing. Just want you to know that there will be no vows from me. This wedding is over. Adrian removed the ring from his finger and dropped it on the floor. Without raising his voice, without anger, he turned and walked away calmly. And in that moment, as the truth stood exposed in the open air, the illusion collapsed completely. The wedding ended not with a kiss, but with honesty. And the lesson lingered long after the guests left. Desire can attract, beauty can charm, but character is what lasts. Lies can carry you far, but never safely. What did you think about these? If you think how Adrian reacted is wrong or right, drop a comment. And if you enjoyed the story, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification for more educational stories.